This mutation is called Multitasking Trainer, and it is being played on Malwarfare. We have two mutators active, we have void drifts, and we have microtransactions. You can see our resident meme lord is actually not going to be doing a meme build. He's going to be doing a Vorazun solo. So this is a dummy AI that does absolutely nothing, and which is sometimes very indicative of some co-op players, but he's going to be doing this Vorazun hero solo, or at least a Vorazun solo. Let's have a look at the masteries. 30 points into the Dark Pylon range, and you can see why that Dark Pylon range has been used as of yet. You can see one of the things that you can do is you can put the Dark Pylon on the high ground, and if you have the Dark Pylon range, you can actually steal this gas, which is really cool. And you can also do it for this expansion here. And we have 3 points into the Shadow Guard duration and 3 points into the initial Spear for Dune energy, and you can see there is a wall off already coming up for Vorazun. So the other thing to note is that Vorazun is using the Spirit of Respite the Spirit of Respite Prestige. So this is the Emergency Recall Prestige. Go a Dark Pylon range, and cost is reduced by 50% as well, and the Dark Pylons lose the recall ability. So you get the ability to move your army back to the Dark Pylon and heal them completely, but at the cost of not having that level of mobility at the cost of not having the mobility of the Dark Pylon's Dark Pylon recall ability. So there is a trade-off for that individual prestige. And you can see the first Void Rift has already spawned, and these units are now confused. They are like, whatever. Oh, that Zergling actually got through. That was actually really funny. If that Void Rift did not spawn so close, the Zergling would have probably not jumped over the edge of to take out the Dark Pylon. But overall, well handled by Vorazun. So Vorazun has already dropped her Shadow Guard, and now she'll be clearing out this first Void Rift. So the Void Rift has been cleared out now by Vorazun. Production-wise, we have a Twilight Council, and now we have a Dark Shrine coming out for Vorazun, and this Dark Shrine is going to be pretty much the focus of her build here. We have the first attack wave that has spawned. 2 Void Rifts have already been also spawned on the map, so this one is easily clean upable. But this one, on the other hand, not as easy to clean up, because this is behind enemy lines, and this is something that can happen on Malwarfare when you're playing Void Drifts. Ideally, the design intent for Blizzard was the early stage Void Drifts will always spawn within a certain range of your base. And usually, on most maps, a certain range of your base would imply that it is reasonably accessible to you. You can see there's a time stop as well that's come down for Vorazun. The 2 Dark Templars just making a beeline right for that Void Rift. I don't know if these things are actually going to be able to clear that up, but we'll see what it is. Okay, they're taking out the missile turret here, removing all the detection for Amon, and they are going to just slowly start pushing in here as well. So they're going to leave that Void Rift up, which is not really too big of a deal, because they do have Vorazun has at least the cloak structures that are blocking the way of the units. But yeah, the initial design intent for Blizzard was to have the Void Rift spawn within a certain range of your base, and on most missions that is okay, because that would imply that the Void Rift is very easily accessible to you and your ally. But unfortunately on this mission, your base is actually very close to the Amon's base, and it's separated by a cliff and an unpathable terrain. And unfortunately, the Void Rift's mutator does not take into account the pathing distance. It is just a fixed distance away. You see Orana already taking a bit of a pounding from Amon's forces, but Vorazun is trying to clear out these Void Rifts, at least whichever ones are accessible, because eventually you're going to start getting air units in the mix, and those air units are going to be really nasty, especially in the later stages of the game. So Vorazun needs to try and clear this up, but yeah, be very careful with enemy detection, because enemy detection can get pretty nasty. Again, these Zealots are basically going to be chilling over here, not really doing anything. Orana's transport is just stopping. She hasn't even made it to the security terminal. That's how slow she's moving right now. Every single time she gets hit, she slows down, which seems to be very counterintuitive for me. It's like, if you're getting attacked, you probably want to start running, not slowing down, so that you can get attacked some more. But that is 500 IQ Orana right there for you, ready and good to go. we have another Shadow Guard here. And the Shadow Guard will start to push into this base. And very conveniently, a Void Rift spawned right next to them. And they're like, yep, okay, I'll take that. So another Void Rift over here. And this Void Rift will also get killed off by the Dark Templars that were parked in that area. And the Shadow Guard not doing anything as of yet. Vorazun is trying to micro out of their mind, and they're going to send their Dark Templars over here and just get a little bit more value. There is a Raven here that's providing some detection for those enemy forces, but those enemy forces are probably going to end up getting murdered by the Shadow Fury that the Shadow Guard have. There is now a harass wave that is making its way towards Orana, and we have these 4 Dark Templars that have been tossed to try and deal with this. So classic infantry is the enemy composition that will be played up against, and that's actually a nice composition because it's actually there are 2 reasons why this is kind of nice. So the first one obviously is because it's ground composition and you can go full DT and, well, not full DT, but mostly DT and you'll be fine. The other thing about this classic infantry composition is that the harass waves spawn at a tech level. A tech level, remember, for attack wave spawns is the most... It indicates the level of advancement of the enemy attack wave. So tech level 1 will spawn Zerglings, for example, and tech level 7 will spawn, Ultralisks and Infestors, higher tech units. On this mission, the harass waves that move towards Orana, when they don't reach a tech level for Terran compositions that will make them spawn a Raven. So this mission and this opportunities are 2 of the missions where you can actually go for a DT army or a cloaked army by any kind of cloaked army, and as long as you're playing against a Terran composition, they will not have detection because in the attack wave spawn algorithm that Blizzard has implemented, they were well aware that Ravens are aggressive units and therefore do not spawn them with the attack waves as a detection measure. Now, if you're playing up against Protoss or Zerg, Protoss will spawn Observers because Observers are obviously not attacking units, and the same way for Zerg, they will spawn the Overseers, which is, again, not an aggressive unit. So those will spawn in the harass waves, but just because this is Terran and because the Ravens are aggressive units, the Ravens will not spawn in the Orana harass waves, which gives a lot more value to these Dark Templars. It means they can survive a little bit better. Now, that does mean that eventually Ravens around the map will come up your way, but it is a significantly lesser annoyance than having Ravens just constantly seeker missiling your army and, you losing your Observer, for example, and being able to just deal with random observers are spawning around the map. So you can see these Dark Templars now. Again, there is no Raven for detection here, which means that they're able to clear this up. And it also means that they can't actually get to Vorazun's base. So this is the Vorazun strategy that will be utilized. And again, there is a cloak for the Dark Pylon here and a wall off as well. So again, nothing is getting through here for Vorazun's base. And Orana has just finished clearing out the 2nd security terminal. 2nd security terminal? I hear you ask. This is the 1st security terminal. As Terminal 1, this is Terminal 2, and she's going to be making her way towards a 3rd security terminal over there. There's a random Banshee just checking stuff out, noticing that there's a shimmer somewhere on the ground, not sure what's going on, decides to go back home. And there's a random DT over here as well, another DT here, and this one is going to end up clearing out this Void Rift. There are 2 more Void Rifts that are actually very accessible for Vorazun, so yeah, Vorazun is going to make her way here and just clean out these 2 Void Rifts. Over here, this Dark Templar will kill off this Void Rift as well. You can see this is why this is just being really annoying. Ravens will see you, Ravens will Seeker Missile you, and it might actually end up casting another Seeker Missile if this Dark Templar hangs around too long. And okay, so he does clear out that Void Rift, but that Dark Templar does get recalled back to somewhere. And now there is a random Banshee that is causing a little bit of harassment over here, and it's probably going to end up killing off this one Stalker, and then uncloaks as well as a result. So this Banshee is being a little bit annoying. There is a Siege Tank here. The Siege Tank and Immortal have spawned from that Void Rift. They've actually spotted that Dark Pylon, but they have killed off at least Dark Templars have killed off the Void Rift spawn. You can see just a small little bunch of Dark Templars here just to deal with the attack wave. You don't want them hanging around, even though theoretically they're not going to go through. You kind of don't want to build up a large number of units that are next to that are just parked and being blocked by some cloaking, because that could be very problematic. If by any chance there is a random piece of detection that ends up moving around the map and gives detection, you're going to end up losing this entire wall and you will get wiped very, very quickly. Now, a few more Dark Templars pushing in, and there is a Secret Missile onto one of these ATs, and this guy gets recalled back. So this is one of the very nice things over here. This Viking that's attacking Orana as well, and she will end up slowing down, as is customary. When you get attacked, you do slow down. Note to self, this is a real-life pro tip fresh from Orana, is if you are being attacked, if you were about to be murdered, make sure you slow down to give your murderer a chance to finish killing you. So, this is one of the really nice things about this Vorazun Prestige, is that when your Dark Templars quote-unquote die, or they get emergency recalled, they don't get recalled back to your Nexus. And even though Vorazun does have the ability to blink out of this area, because Vorazun's DTs they do have blink, having them recalled back to the nearest Dark Pylon actually helps her apply a lot more pressure than she would normally be able to apply. And unfortunately, that Dark Pylon does get picked off by some random units. I think they might have spawned from a Void Rift. These Void Rifts now we're like at the 15-minute point in the game, so these Void Rifts are going to start spawning Immortals and Siege Tanks and all sorts of other nasty units. So that is what can happen. You can see that was a random trickle spawn, but every single wave spawn that comes up from these Void Rifts, they will start to spawn these Immortals, and these Immortals will start to aggro probably the Dark Pylons that Vorazun is putting down, because that is the nearest structure that is available. Dark Pylons, again, are going to end up clearing out this first Suppression Tower. Second Suppression Tower will spawn up here, but now there is a Harass Wave that is making its way towards Orana. Dark Templars are already in position, and they going to blink and instantly just delete that attack wave, or that Harass Wave. Is it a Harass Wave or an attack wave? I think it's a Harass Wave. I think that's probably the correct word for it. It's a Harass Wave rather than attack wave. The second Suppression Tower has spawned now. That Suppression Tower will probably go down. Vorazun is already at the level 1 attack upgrades. For some reason, I'm not sure why I'm not able to point over and look at this. The Prestige patch kind of semi-broke the Observer interface for co-op. There's a lot of funky things that are going on right now. So, again, there's another Shadow Guard that's moving forward. Raven aggroing with the Secret Missile, but the Shadow Guard are going to be blinking forward and just clearing whatever they can. Just slowly softening up these enemy forces and making sure that when Vorazun's army completely moves forward with the help of a time stop, that she's able to clear out these units very, very quickly. So now these Marines are going to start attacking Orana's transport. Again, blink forward with the Dark Templars, and they will end up clearing that out. Raven being a little bit annoying and providing some vision to these Void Rift mobs that are spawning. So they will have to try and deal with that. That Raven around here is just causing so many problems, just providing detection and just casting random abilities, just making people very, very mad. And random Infestor in the High Templar here. This area has been, a lot of these forces, a lot of these enemy camps have been softened up by the random onslaught of the Shadow Guards that Vorazun has been spawning. So again, that one Dark Shrine is good. Oh, that Dark Pylon actually ends up surviving, and that is the end of that Raven's career as a detector. But now we have another Void Rift spawn. So again, Vorazun has to try and deal with this. Orana has told her defender, her protector, she's about to move towards the next security terminal. So that Void Rift gets picked off. That one also will get cleaned up. And there's a Raven over here. That Raven is getting so much value. It already has 1 kill. That one Raven has killed already like 1 Dark Templar, and it's just provided. There's a detection issue there that needs to be cleaned up. And that Raven as well, causing some more problems and providing some more vision and casting an ability as well. And now there is a time stop that gets dropped, and Vorazun now is just going to be pushing in with her army and letting Orana actually move through this enemy forces here without being slowed down by the attack. And that hybrid as well will get killed off by a blink forward of the Dark Templars and the Shadow Fury combo. Really, really strong combo here for Vorazun. And yeah, that one Raven. And that Raven is just regenerating energy, and apparently the Ghost casts an EMP on the Dark Templars, and they actually end up getting uncloaked, which is also catastrophic, because it means they are no longer bound by the emergency recall passive that is available. And then finally that guy gets killed off. Some random Infestors making their way. That is from the Void Rift spawn that is over here. You can see I've clicked it actually. And now Vorazun has to clear this out, as well as deal with this next attack wave that is making its way towards her base. Now, I don't know if there is detection with this wave. I'm not 100% certain. It may just be small enough such that it does not have the detection. I think it's on like the precipice. I think it may or may not have detection. Yes, yeah. So this is I think it's the highest wave tech level that you can get without it spawning detection. I think that's the way this wave is. So it's a very precarious position there. There's a void ray that is attacking Orana's transport. Orana does not seem to be too phased by that, but now there is a harass wave as well that's coming out from this moment side, and this suppression tower has spawned, which means that this suppression tower will be coming up. This suppression tower will be spawning on the next spawn. So Vorazun will have to try and get into position, and in addition to that, are there 3 ravens? What is going? Wow, just wow. There are 3 ravens are on the target. Look at this. Just look at this. There's a conga line of ravens that's going. Look at all these. What is going on? Look at this. The raven's like, I see you. I have you now. So Orana's transport is taking a bit of a hammering right now, and Vorazun is still waiting to try before she engages that suppression tower. I think she wanted to stall it just a little bit, and there's Infestors and Banshees. Something is giving them detection right now, and they've gone completely cloaked. There's that Raven that's causing a problem. Blink forward from the Stalkers picks off that Raven, and now that Banshee will also get killed off by the Stalker Blink, because the Stalker Blink causes the Stalker to go into cloak, which prevents them from being detected, because there are no detectors nearby, which means that they will actually decloak. So there's one way of actually dealing with the Banshees, is you just cloak your Stalkers and cause them to uncloak if they do not have detection. And they have to be a little bit careful with these ghosts. These ghosts can EMP you, and that could be very, very terrible for you. Some hybrids now have started to spawn from that last Void Rift, because we are now at the 20-minute mark. And now the second suppression tower has spawned. The AI, like, is it just me, or has the AI just been spazzing out recently through new patches? I'm not really sure what's going on, but... And it's not only on this map, it's been on like several maps. I've noticed that the AI just spazzes out and just does some really weird things that I've never really seen before. And now we have another harass wave that is coming up, and there is a very nice black hole here. These DTs are going to have no problems in dealing with the harass wave. And I think there might actually be one more harass wave that'll spawn on this mission before Orana is done. Yeah, final suppression tower now has spawned, and this one is pretty much undefended, so Vorazun will have no problems clearing that up. And she's already up to her level 2 attack upgrades. Just some random units. One of the things that's really annoying is because these random units are spawning from that one really deep void rift. Now we're starting to get hybrids, and it takes a while to clear these hybrids, and now we have another harass wave that is coming up. And that harass wave, again, there are marines over here, and because they do not have detection, they don't actually end up stimming until it's a little bit too late, and now the entire siege tank line has also been killed off. And we have some more DTs here. DTs are just going to be making their way to these void drifts to try and clear those out. So we have 2 DTs over here that'll deal with the random void rift spawn. So Vorazun's arrangement over here is just have a few DTs scattered around the map to clear out the void rift. Whatever unit ends up spawning will make its way towards Vorazun's base, and those units will get killed off by the random Dark Templars that are parked over here. And even though there's a hybrid here, this hybrid does not have detection, so this is not a problem for Vorazun. There is a Seeker Missile right on top of these Stalkers, unfortunately, and a Dark Pylon comes up right here to just try and save this Battlecruiser Yamato Cannon right on top of that Dark Pylon. Unfortunately, that Dark Pylon does end up going down as well. I think that it might have been the Banshee, or it might have been Vorazun accidentally A-clicking the Dark Pylon. I'm not 100% certain. So over here, just a blink forward, see how the Banshee uncloaks, because these units are cloaked. And this will only work, by the way, if there is no detection, obviously. If the Banshee sees that it is being threatened, it will recloak. So make sure that you clear all detection around the Banshee before you try and do this. And we have another Seeker Missile right on top of that Stalker. Vorazun, unfortunately, not paying attention, does get hit. Vorazun, how has Vorazun done? She lost 27 Stalkers, 1 Dark Templar. So the Stalker is kind of unfortunate, but not really much of an issue. Stalkers are now going to clean up whatever's left of these Banshees, and Vorazun is going to be blinking forward and wants to try and focus down this hybrid dominator. So she's going to split her Dark Templars to make sure that they get the perfect surround and don't really waste potential DPS. We have a Shadow Guard as well that gets dropped here. Ravens drop their Seeker Missiles on these Dark Templars and onto these Shadow Guards. A lot of things getting hit right now, but again, they're getting an emergency recall back to this pylon here, so Vorazun is not really going to be wasting a lot of time in re-rallying her army and getting her army back, and this is how the value comes in for Vorazun as a result of this prestige. So That is another hybrid dominant. Not one Void Rift, it's just there. Okay, so yeah, Vorazun is going to clear that up. And now Vorazun has to decide where she wants to push. Now, I know it's 50% to get this one and 50% against the suppression tower, but usually I find that this 50% is higher than this 50%. I'm not really sure why. This 50% seems to be more likely than this 50%. I'm not really sure what the rationale behind it is, but we now have another spawn that is coming up on the top here. A few DTs over here. But see how none of these attack waves are actually escorts. See, I told you, this 50% is more likely than that bottom 50%. One of the things is that these harass waves don't come with detection, so your DTs are essentially safe from this. I think the other composition that this is also safe from is like pretty much most of the pure ground turn compositions. So we now have another attack wave that is coming up. And Vorazun is going to be focusing first on that attack wave, because that attack wave can actually kill Orana very, very quickly. You're dealing with stimmed Marines, and they're going to be at 3-3 already, so you don't really want to underestimate the power of these stimmed Marines. They could just wipe out Orana so quickly. The suppression tower, you know, it will eventually go into rapid fire attack mode, and you want to deal with that suppression tower. You know, you don't want to keep it up, but you want to deal with the harass waves first, and there's going to be very, very important spots here. DTs are going to be blinking out of the way of that suppression tower and end up deleting that hybrid instantly. Vorazun, you're flowing no resources right now because the microtransactions mutator is active. What? The microtransactions meter was active? Yes, the microtransactions mutator is active, which is why Vorazun is not really maxed out right now. A lot of the resources have gone into just moving her army around. Now, one thing you can do is you can set all your Dark Templars to follow one leading Dark Templar, but it is so dangerous to do so. It is so risky because one misclick and you will end up losing your entire army because they will not be skilling as, or you know, they will not be skilling when you want them to skill. So that first suppression tower has gone. There is a random trickle spawn from the Void Rift here, and these units are now going to be attacking the Dark Pylon, and I think this Dark Pylon will end up going down. Over here, the harass wave that had spawned with this suppression tower have been cleared out, so that is nice. Suppression tower will get pulled off as well, and now this one's going to be the more tricky part. There's going to be a suppression tower spawning here with a defensive wave. There's going to be a suppression tower spawning over here with a defensive wave as well. I can see the Vorazun has time stop available, so that timing is actually really nice for Vorazun. She's going to be able to time stop and instantly clear out that final base here. So we'll see how they're going to go and engage this. Yeah, this one is basically a freebie. Dark Templars are already right on top of that defensive wave, and that suppression tower will end up going down very quickly. And I think once Vorazun decides to push in here, she's just going to time stop and instantly delete everything. And remember, during time stop, attack waves will not spawn, so she doesn't have to worry about Orana just getting randomly ninja. And there we go. There is a time stop. Dark Templar is just blinking instantly forward, and just going to focus down the suppression tower. And I think by the time their Shadow Fury gets off cooldown, they'll be able to delete the next set of units over here, and there we go. And that is the suppression tower killed off. And a few Dark Templars do end up getting wiped by that one hybrid, but Vorazun has done her job. She has sniped out the suppression tower during a time stop in 20 seconds and killed off as well a good chunk of the enemy units here. And what has she lost? Yeah, she's lost 4 Shadow Guards and 3 Dark Templars. 9 Dark Pylons have died, but it's not really much of an issue. This is the final harass wave that'll spawn, and the siege tanks pretty much stand no chance. The final black hole here just for style points, not by any stretch of the imagination necessary. And now Vorazun is going to start pushing into this side. Kills off that Void Rift, but that is Orana's transport defended. That is GG.